Today we're doing something a little different. We're taking some seriously ancient Buddhist wisdom and giving it a complete modern tech over. We're not just exploring philosophy here, we're cracking open what looks like a technical manual for upgrading consciousness itself.
Okay, let's just dive right in with a single, pretty wild question. Forget everything you thought you knew about spiritual paths for a second. What if enlightenment wasn't about reaching some final, peaceful state, but was actually about installing a brand new operating system for reality?
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with what this upgrade actually is. Then we'll peek under the hood at what we're calling the Buddha OS. After that, we'll get into how you even access this cosmic server, explore the incredible power of something called the Dharma Cloud, and finally bring it all home and figure out what it means to become a reality node. Let's jump in.
All right, first up, the ultimate consciousness upgrade. We're looking at the whole journey to enlightenment, the Bodhisattva path, not as a bunch of moral lessons, but as a direct progression. It's like moving from a very buggy limited human 1.0 to the absolutely limitless potential of Buddha OS.
The specific level we're focusing on is called the 10th Bodhisattva ground, or the Dharma Cloud ground. Now, this is the cool part. This isn't just another step. Think of it as the moment the full Buddha-level operating system is completely loaded, stable, and ready to run. The installation is finished. The upgrade is complete. So, how does this work in practice? This chart lays it out perfectly. A beginner? You're like a standard user on a computer. You have limited access. A bodhisattva on those first 9 grounds, now you're a developer. You can write some code, build apps, but you don't control the whole system. But at the 10th ground, boom, you become the system administrator. You have root access to everything. And a fully enlightened Buddha, well, they're the ones who designed and built the system in the first place. So we've laid out the upgrade path, but what are we actually upgrading to? What does this new OS do? Let's take a look inside the Buddha OS and check out its core features and its fundamental architecture. Now, get this. These aren't superpowers in the way you might think. They're more like system specs. Dharma realm level concurrency is just the ability to operate across all possible realities at the exact same time. Multi-threaded consciousness means running an infinite number of processes simultaneously. A Buddha isn't a single person in a single place. They are a distributed system existence, kind of like a cloud service that's everywhere at once, showing up as a holographic projection wherever it's needed. And this leads to a really critical shift in thinking. You know, a lot of spiritual paths say the world is an illusion, but this framework takes it a massive step further. The world isn't just some mirage you're supposed to ignore or see through. It is a programmable system, and mastery means you learn how to write the code.
You can actually see the evolution of this understanding. Level 1 is that basic insight. The world is an illusion. A lot of people stop right there. Level 2 is more advanced. You get that it's a model, a kind of simulation running on the laws of cause and effect. But the third level, the master level, that's when you realize this simulation is a programmable system, and you can actively generate and deploy new instances of it.
Okay, so a programmable reality, a cosmic operating system, that is absolutely incredible. But how in the world do you get the admin password? This brings us to the idea of empowerment and the system's underlying architecture. In these ancient texts, there's a ceremony called empowerment. From a systems point of view, though, this is the moment of authorization. It's not just a symbolic ritual, it's the command line prompt where you are granted full administrative rights to access, read, and write all data within the entire cosmic database. An operating system this vast is gonna need some serious hardware to run on, right? The texts don't talk about silicon servers, but they do describe the architecture. They call it the Great Lotus. And this isn't just some pretty poetic image. It's a technical description of the system's hardware. The Great Lotus is the server. It's a container for consciousness that can hold data for limitless worlds, which is a perfect analogy for a modern cloud server cluster. It's the ultimate distributed database, basically the memory structure for the entire cosmos. Now that we've looked at the hardware in the OS, let's talk about performance. What can this system actually do? This is the power of the Dharma Cloud, and it's all about infinite throughput and the ability to directly intervene in reality. Let's just compare our standard human 1.0 minds with this fully upgraded version. We've got limited bandwidth, we can only process things one at a time, we get overwhelmed, we crash. The Dharma Cloud mind, on the other hand, has infinite throughput, limitless stability, and it's massively parallel. It can handle all the data in the entire universe without ever lagging. And all that power can be directed with unbelievable precision. The text described this light system coming from the Bodhisattva's body. Now, what's so fascinating is that it's not random. It's a precision targeting tool. Light from the feet can intervene in the lowest, hell realms, while light from the crown can interact with the highest Buddha realms. It's a full-spectrum tool for influencing any layer of existence you can imagine.
At its heart, the power of the Dharma cloud really boils down to these 4 functions. Number 1, the ability to store all data without any limits. 2, the ability to perfectly understand all of that data. 3, the ability to integrate it all into one coherent whole. And 4, the ability to sustain that entire system indefinitely. Store, understand, integrate, and sustain.
So, after all this high-level, cosmic-scale tech talk, you're probably asking, what does this actually mean for us? Let's bring it all back down to earth with a little user guide on how you can start thinking like a reality node.
First, let's just clear up a huge misconception. It's so easy to hear all this stuff and think, okay, these are just myths, fairy tales, magic stories. But the reality is, you can read these texts as a technical manual, like a white paper describing the fundamental architecture of consciousness and reality itself.
And the second myth is that the goal of all this is to get superpowers, to levitate or read minds, but that's looking at it completely backwards. The abilities we've been talking about are not the goal. They are simply the natural byproducts, the emergent features of a fully mature and stable operating system.
So what's the path forward for you? Here are 3 key shifts in perspective. First, try to move from just passively seeing emptiness or illusion to actively using emptiness as the blank canvas on which you can program reality. Second, evolve from focusing only on your own individual awareness to thinking about how you could design systems that help all beings. And third, progress from just having raw spiritual experiences to giving them a structured expression so that wisdom can actually be shared and scaled.
And this really brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. The goal isn't to become a better, stronger, or even wiser version of you. It's to fundamentally change your function. You're transforming from being an end user into a computational node of reality itself.
This single sentence from our source material just perfectly illustrates the entire concept. Emptiness, that programmable nature of reality, is the operating system. Wisdom is the computational engine running on it. And compassion is the core logic that directs all of its actions, with one goal, to infinitely generate and nourish the entire cosmos.
So we'll end on this thought. This isn't just an abstract idea from some ancient text. It's a profound reimagining of our potential, and it poses the ultimate question. If you had full administrative rights to the operating system of reality, what would you create? What worlds would you build? What bugs would you fix?